Hi, this is Derek Jordan. Welcome to the World Fusion Show, where we bring you the leading innovators in world fusion music. Today, I am delighted to bring you my guest, Howard Levy. Howard plays harmonica and piano, often at the same time. He composes and works with one of my favorite world fusion groups, Trio Globo. But we're going to get into all that a little bit later. Anyway, welcome, Howard Levy, to the World Fusion Show.
Thank you, Derek. Great to see you.
It's just amazing to have you here. I'm pinching myself because you are literally one of my favorite musicians that I've heard. I think what you do is truly innovative. And so you started music pretty young, right? You said you were begging your parents to let you play piano, right?
Yeah, they kept saying I was too young for piano lessons and that it would be too hard and I'd quit. So finally, when I was about 8 and a half, they agreed. And after the third lesson, I started improvising. Yeah.
Yeah, and you haven't stopped since, I don't think.
Unfortunately, that's true.
Okay, that's really great. So you also were saying to me that you had a group in 6th grade that you played with. It was not a rock band per se, but it was an interesting group. Tell us about that.
Well, I was trying to put together a band. I had already been going to Manhattan School of Music on Saturdays for 3 years at that point. And so I knew how to write music. And so I had this dream of I want to have a band. And so I asked everyone I knew who played an instrument. So there were 2 guys who played clarinet, a trumpet player, an accordion player.
Oh.
And this is the key to the whole thing. A drummer
who
lived down the street from me, and myself. So I guess there were 6 of us.
Yeah.
Is that right? I guess I can't count. It's too early in the day. But the accordion player knew exactly one tune.
One tune.
It was the Alley Cat song, which... And his brother had a band called the Offbeats with one of those cardboard stands with that like jazz bands used to have and that jobbing bands have, So we were the Offbeats.
Yes.
And, there was a bassoon player. That's right.
Bassoon. You're really stretching it.
So he played the bass line. So he's going boom, 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 boom. And we rehearsed in his living room for weeks.
Right.
And when we played, we sounded really good. And the kids just went crazy. And they kept shouting, encore, encore. But we only knew one
song.
So we played it again. So
yep.
This was the first time in grade school that I'd say I became instantly one of the popular kids. And so I thought, hey, maybe there's something about this music business that could actually do me some good.
That's right. It's funny you say that. I started my first band in junior high, and I was a wallflower. I didn't want to dance. I was really shy. But by getting up in front of everyone, suddenly I became really popular, and I didn't have to dance either,
Hey, that's the key to the whole thing.
So
I know what you're talking about.
There's something there. So, you work with Trio Globo, and Eugene Friesen has been on the show, and Glenn, the third member, Glenn Velez, has promised me he'll come on. But I wanted to go to our first video, which is a tune called Steering by the Stars, done by you guys in the studio. You want to say something about it?
I started writing that tune in a motel right next to the Pacific Ocean while I was on tour with the Flecktones in 1992. And the sentiment behind it was based on a book I read about the way that Polynesians navigate across the open ocean in their outrigger canoes. That's why it's called Steering by the Stars.
Beautiful. Let's go to this video right now. All right, hey, we're back with Howard Levy. Howard, that was fantastic. And so a lot of people may not realize this, but you are playing a blues harp, a diatonic harmonica. And
Yes.
but you are truly an innovator in that you figured out a way to get all the other notes. And I want you to tell us how you accomplished that.
Well, the first harmonica that I bought was in the key of G at Manny's Music in New York in 1969, and it cost me $2.25. It was a blues harp, and I struggled for like 6 months before I actually was able to bend a note. I just wanted to play blues. And the thing about the harmonica is that this one's in G. That's why I'm sort of recreating what happened. It was designed as a folk instrument by the Germans, and so they have, if you blow on it, you get the major arpeggio, 3 octaves. This one starts at the G below middle C, like a violin, actually. It's a very similar range. But when you draw on it, it's asymmetrical. The first octave just has 3 notes, so that play the 5 chord, the D chord, so the Germans could get. And in the second octave, they have the 4 missing notes, the 4. So you, by alternating blows and draws, you get the major scale, and then the top is backwards from the middle. So you can see that most of the notes of the major scale are on it, but not all. But what blues players discovered in America is that you can bend the difference in pitch between the higher and lower notes on a whole, starting on the higher one. So, for example, you have the 4th hole, G and A. You can bend the A down to an A flat. The 3rd hole, you have D and F sharp. It's like a little miniature trombone in there. And I'm doing this by changing the position of the tongue in my mouth. And so that's how the blues thing is. It's changing the resonance of the inside of your mouth to get these licks. The furthest thing from the Germans' minds when they invented the instrument in the 1820s.
Yeah.
So after I learned how to play some blues licks, and I was thrilled that I could do this, I soon became frustrated at the fact that not all the notes were on the instrument. And I thought, what kind of crazy instrument doesn't have all the notes? I was 18 years old. What did I know? I thought every instrument had to have all the notes. So I tried to figure out how to get them. On the top of the instrument, you can get bends by blowing, because the blows are higher on the top. Beautiful sound, actually. And so I thought, why don't I try bending the blow notes on the bottom, even though I knew they wouldn't bend down just by definition because they were lower. But what happened is bending the 6th hole blow, which is D, and the draw is in E, and we're missing the F natural, and there's the F sharp on the 7th hole. There's no F natural. So if I try to bend the D down, miraculously, the F pops out. And I only discovered mechanically what it was after years. Someone explained it to me. But I started doing this in winter of 69, 70, and I discovered that all the notes that were missing on the harmonica, you can get this way. So now I have a 3-octave chromatic scale. And it was just up to me to see how far I could take it musically, and get away from what the harmonica gives you naturally and get off into other keys. And you see that my eyes were closed when I did that because I'm visualizing the piano.
Right.
I have the keyboard sitting in front of me. So that's what I'm seeing in my mind.
Oh my God.
That's how I can play them together at the same time, because in my mind, it's one big instrument instead of 2 separate ones.
That is so amazing. What an incredible explanation. I'm sure people will be replaying that to try and figure out what the hell you're doing. It's so great, though. It's so great. I heard you in concert with Trio Globo, and you did your version of Amazing Grace, where as you played solo, you modulated between 4 different keys on your blues harp. And I turned to my wife after and said, that's impossible, what Howard just did. And right after that, Eugene Friesen said into the mic on stage, what Howard just did is impossible. So, it's a wonderful, incredible way that you've been able to expand the instrument. And I know a lot of people have been very inspired by that. I would love to go to our next video, which is it's you performing on Prairie Home Companion, doing Chorino. And do you want to say something about this tune?
What piece is it? Is it the one in G minor?
I don't remember.
Probably.
You'll hear in a second.
I renamed it the Steroid Choro. I think is it the one that goes da, 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 da,
yes.
Yeah, I've had a deep love for Brazilian music. That's one of the things that's in common between me and Eugene, by the way.
Yeah.
Among many other things with me and Gene and Glenn. I've been listening to and playing Brazilian music for more than 30 years, maybe almost close to 40. And I especially love the choro style. One of my favorite musicians in the world is Jaco de Bandolim, the great Brazilian mandolin player. And so I tried to write a choro that went through a whole bunch of different feels that were actually a very traditional sounding melody in certain ways, but it goes into a whole bunch of different keys as kind of what you mentioned. And it's sort of full of surprises. So I'm not sure how well I played it here, but...
you did just fine. We'll let people decide. All right, let's go check out this video.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's Howard Levy. Thank you.
Fantastic. Oh my God, that's so great. So yeah, there are a few keys in there. I did notice that you're going through. It's so beautiful.
I recorded that on an album recently with guitarist Chris Siebold called Art Plus Adrenaline. We have a really great duo version of it.
Nice, nice. So you're on tour with the Flecktones right now, just on a short break.
Yes.
So, and that's, of course, very well-known group with Bella Fleck and some other fabulous musicians. How's that going for you now?
I'd say I'm having about the most fun I've ever had playing with the band this summer. It just feels wonderful.
That's so great. So fantastic. Also, you've done a lot of composition. I know you wrote a concerto for harmonica and orchestra. What was that like? Did you write out all the orchestral parts yourself and arranged it?
Yes, I did. And I have no training in that at all.
That's a job.
And I have no computer chops at all for music notation. And so I had a pencil and music paper and my mind, my harmonica and my piano, and it came out very good.
Okay, good. Yeah. I write for orchestra also, and I agree with you. It's a tough job to work with all those instruments.
Well, I actually understand how the ones work that I wrote for. It was for a chamber orchestra, so it was strings, and also they offered me some wind instruments, flute and clarinet. I actually play flute and clarinet.
Oh, wow.
And I play mandolin, and so I know where all the notes are on all the string instruments. And from working with Eugene so much, I really understand the cello pretty well. And I play a little bass as well. So I kind of, and for percussion and timpani, and obviously I know how to play some percussion.
Yeah.
So piano is a percussion instrument, for Pete's sake. And so I felt very comfortable writing for all the instruments, and very little had to be changed afterwards. We just made the flute part up an octave in several sections, and everything else was intact. And I've performed it about 40 times all over the world.
It's great. Fantastic. That's really wonderful. I was going to go to our third video, which is Chorinho. And this is from your album, one of your albums.
It's another Chorinho?
It's another one, yes.
My tune, is it called Chorinho?
It's called Chorinho on the album.
Yeah. Yes, that's the name of the tune. Yes, a very imaginative name. It's like calling a jazz tune jazz. That was right after my friend, Brazilian friend Geraldo de Oliveira, who I used to play with a lot, brought me back some albums from Brazil of this choro music, and I felt very inspired. And I wrote this one probably sometime in around 1982, or I would say. But I didn't actually get it onto a recording until 2009, I believe, is when this album came out, which is called Tonight and Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the title track of that album I wrote when I was 19.
Wow. Okay. Let's go check out the video now. Oh, yeah. Nice stuff there. Beautiful tune. Nice improv, too.
That's me on piano and harmonica.
Yeah, I guess, huh?
And we did that whole record in 2 6-hour sessions.
Beautiful.
All the recording and the overdubs.
Yeah. Well, Howard Levy, it's been a humongous pleasure having you on the show today. I'm revealing my New Jersey roots with the humongous comment. But
it's okay. I grew up across the river from you.
Yeah, not too far, right? So just beautiful stuff. Thank you for all your everything. You're sharing your music and your, the technique and everything that you've developed with the harp and everything. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Hey, it's Derrik Jordan. And thank you for joining us today on the World Fusion Show. It's just great to have you. And we've got lots more great shows coming up. We've got, check us out on Facebook and YouTube, our YouTube channel, podcasts on SoundCloud. And remember, as we always say, think globally, listen locally, and support independent music.